Mwahaha. Happy Halloween, you creeps out there. Well, it's Tuesday night for us, so happy Halloween. But you're listening to this on a Friday. But welcome
You
back to the
creeps.
episode. Yeah, you creeps, you ghouls, and whatever everybody else calls you guys. Welcome back to Reviewing the Call. We are a sports podcast brought to you by us because we sponsor ourselves. Unless you want to sponsor us, go ahead.
Please.
Please, yeah.
I gotta pay my bills.
But yeah, it's we have a packed episode today. Obviously, tonight is Halloween, so it's only Chris and myself today. There was trick or treaters out there. There's one of us is also still working, but it's just Chris and myself again to entertain you guys as much as we can. With that being said, Chris, how have you been, bro? What's going on? What's been on your mind lately?
Dude, I'm just gonna say this from the get-go. I
Uh-oh.
apologize to all the viewers, the people on the reels, all our listeners, because I got completely roasted for the cereal stuff of last episode. I will never eat on this podcast again. Hell, I won't even drink water because I feel like I'm doing that wrong too. Bro, everybody. Like I knew like our family or like close friends would say something. But bro, like people at my church saw the reels.
Please remind the people that didn't see the reel, which you haven't, go to our Instagram. It's on there. It's the one from last week.
It's probably
Remind
pinned.
people. Yeah, it should be. I will pin it. But remind people what you're talking about so they know.
So what had happened was that last episode, Misa decided to text me. I asked him, I was like, hey bro, are we gonna get on early or are we gonna just do like our normal time? And he lied to me. He said, bro, I'm with Gigi, I gotta take care of her. I was like, okay, cool. So I got myself ready some cereal and I warmed up the milk. All right. And then I put the cereal in and I brought it into the office and then he texts me, hey bro, I'm ready. So I get on and then I had the cereal there and obviously the cereal sogged. It was Cinnamon Toast Crunch. It sogged up.
The taste you can see.
And it was delicious, but at the same time, everybody and their mom. I guess this is not a normal thing. I guess I'm the only human in existence that does this. and yep, I got roasted by people I thought were friends and family, but
well, the thing is that it may be normal, Chris, and this is what I was trying to tell you last week, that it is normal if you're a kid. But once you're an adult, oh, you're drinking water. Is that warm water or
it's room temperature water?
Oh.
No, we're not doing this. No, that's a normal thing.
Yeah, that is normal for people that also warm their milk up. But yeah, so he got roasted pretty bad on our reels and our comment section. People were like disgusted by him. People were also
disgusted by me.
people were also removing him from our
You gotta
family.
break his legs.
Yeah, it got pretty bad, and everybody was like, "What's wrong with him? What's wrong?" And nothing's wrong with him. He's a normal human. He just likes his milk warm because he still has his baby teeth in.
Yeah, I got my. Yeah.
So
There's still my milk teeth.
But besides getting roasted, anything exciting happened this weekend?
No, I stayed in my room the whole time because I was so sad. No, it was a good weekend. What did we do? Friday night, we actually didn't do anything exciting besides church. We just kind of laid low, came home Saturday after prayer, and we just chilled as our little family here. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Nothing too crazy this weekend for me. And obviously watching football and baseball. But
yeah,
that was it for me.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty much how it was. It was kind of a lay low weekend for me too. Sort of. I mean, I worked this weekend on Saturday and then Sunday. So we got our cold front in Texas finally came in. And for the people that live up north that listen to us, yes, it's cold for us. We don't care that you guys live in negative 20 degrees. But 40 degrees is cold for us Texan folk over here. So we did get our cold front. We got a lot of rain this weekend. And yeah, I mean, everything was pretty much a kind of stay at home thing. We already had planned to go into a different town on Sunday. So I went to meet up with the 49er faithful Frisco group in Frisco, Texas at the Frisco Bar and Grill.
Oh, was that the first time you took I saw Gigi out there.
Yeah, so that my mother-in-law, my wife, and my daughter were going to Costco, and And then my wife was like, "Oh, the baby's crying for you," and I was like, "Well, just bring her. Like, it's a kid friendly. It's a restaurant, you know. We just hold a whole section for us." So Gigi was there with me at the game, and then she was like cheering, and she laughed, or the first time she laughed when everybody barked because we bark after every first down, like they do at Levi Stadium. So yeah, it was a cool experience to have her there. And again, thanks to Frank from Frisco Faithful, because it was definitely a good experience for them to see. But yeah, that was pretty much it. I worked. I'm excited for the new Call of Duty. Don't come at me. I'm ready for that.
Oh, and the new
Um,
Spider-Man 2 is out. By the way,
yeah,
guys.
yeah, but I don't have a PlayStation 5 because that's for a later discussion. but yeah, I mean, so that's pretty much it, man. I just kind of stayed home, chilled, hung with the baby. I was off today, so hung with the baby today as well. Been watching sports all weekend. Baseball, obviously, World Series. The last week we were here, we were in the championship series. So, congrats to the Arizona Diamondbacks and the Texas Rangers, who currently the Texas Rangers are leading this series 2-1, and they are currently winning the game so far, but they're only in like the third inning.
Well,
I
it's
know, on Tuesday.
5-0 right now.
Oh, really? Dude,
Yeah.
I just checked and it was only 1-0.
No, it's
Wow.
It's 5-0.
Oh, okay. So the Texas Rangers are coming in hot, but
Yeah.
this series has been crazy like that. But we'll get into that here in a little bit. And then obviously we have a big elephant in the room with the San Francisco 49ers. Today is trade deadline, so there has been a bunch of trades, and I'm sure you guys have followed along with that. But Chris, take us into our NFL segment. I know you're ready with your soundbite because you are so good at your job to take us into the soundbite. Oh my God.
What's your favorite thing to ever do?
Are you trying to keep me distracted? So, all right. So, week 8 of the NFL season is wrapped up, and we are going into week 9. Obviously, a lot of upsets this weekend, if I'm being honest, because it's not just the 49er team that wasn't not necessarily an upset because it's the Cincinnati Bengals, but obviously your Chiefs team was crazy. We'll get into that here in a bit, but we're going to go start off with our picks from last week. Those that have been keeping track. Last week, week 8, Domo only got one win correct, which was the Dolphins. Chris only got one win correct, which was also the Dolphins. And I actually won last week, which was I had the Jags and the Ravens. So I took the win in week 8. But when we're talking about the wins, no, can you stop coughing?
Dude, I don't know what I just
but when we're talking about the wins, last week, for everybody that follows the beautiful podcast that we have put on together, knows that we have one that's a Packer fan and 3 of us are 49er fans. The 49ers, we're just going to get right into the 49ers because I'm sure that's what you guys are excited about. Did not play like the 49ers from being 5-0.
Not at all.
Not saying that the Cincinnati Bengals are a bad team, but I think that our defense should be a lot better. I've already seen memes of like bring back D'Amico, and like, you know, the Wolverine meme where he's like laying in his bed and he's like touching the picture of something that he misses, and it's like D'Amico Ryans. Our defensive coordinator sits in the booth, doesn't come down to the field, so it's hard to motivate the guys from up there. You need to be on the field is my take on that. But also our secondary gets burned a lot, and a lot of pass interference calls, a lot of unnecessary call flags that we get thrown our way that we do to ourselves. Not saying that the refs are doing it, but Joe Burrow had a game, obviously. They beat the 49ers 31-17. A lot of people are also talking about how the 49ers have only scored 17 points in like their last 3 games. Each game has been 17 points, which is a crazy fun fact, right? But the Cincinnati Bengals went to Levi and took straight control over them and exposed a little bit of the weak side of the 49er defense. Now, the 49er defense just got a little bit better with Chase Young, who just got traded to the 49ers from the Washington Commanders for a 3rd-round pick. Now, that's great. I love that pickup for the 49ers defensive line because now you have Bosa and Chase Young, but you still have Armstead waiting for you there. You still have Fred Warner lurking in the back and Hufungo in the deep end, right? But what we needed to focus on was cornerbacks. That's what we need because our guys get burned every game. It doesn't matter who they play. They're getting burned or they're causing these pass interference calls. and it just sucks to see because you have the potential number one defense with, especially how much they paid Nick Bosa, but you're losing because these receivers are running better routes, and then the cornerbacks are not being able to contain them. So then they're causing flags, or they're getting burned immediately, and the coverage falls apart. We keep playing zone defense instead of playing like man coverage on that side, and then playing zone defense is great, but then you leave gaps open because the zone defensive is only going to be in that zone, right? He's lurking in that area. So when the receiver cuts this way, that means somebody else is supposed to pick up the coverage on that side, and sometimes they don't communicate, and then it's a 15-yard gain, a 10-yard gain. And if you give that much time to Joe Burrow, he's going to find a way. And there was plays, bro, that we were watching where I was like, oh, he's going down for a sack. Nope. He was like escaping everything.
That's what I was going to say. There was a play where everybody on our D-line, including Nick Bosa, touched Joe Burrow, and he still didn't go down, made a completion. And I'm just like, is it that? I think I brought it up 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago. Is it that these guys are getting paid so much now that, Nick Bosa just signed again, and they're just making so much money, they're like, whatever. Or what's happening? Because last season we were a defense to fear, and we still are. I think that.
Well, I mean, I think we started this year the same way, right? We're 5-0, and they were a defensive team.
Yeah, but to lose 3 games in a row is crazy.
Exactly.
To lose 3 games in a row with, and I get the whole Brock Purdy thing. I mean, he's still in his rookie stuff like that, but our defense is getting shown out. Like you were saying, I mean, you got to give props where props is due. The Bengals have Jamar Chase, T. Higgins out there. Those are fast receivers. Yeah. Not just fast receivers, but clutch receivers when it counts. So Jamar Chase had 100 yards, a touchdown. He did, caught it 10 times. But regardless, he was still everywhere on that field.
That stat is 10 yards per carry.
Yeah. T. Higgins, same thing. T. Higgins has 69 yards, but that is you got 2, not big, but 2 powerful wide receivers coming out. And our defense, like you were talking about, our cornerbacks and safeties, it's not our strongest suit. So you got to put, like, what I'm trying to say is that you got to remember, if your D-line can't do it, your cornerbacks got to. But every time you give Joe Burrow an extra 2 seconds, it was over for us, and it was like 5-10 yards, and that adds up through the field, obviously.
Well, I mean, even like you just said, though, like we were at the point where they were able to sack him, and they just couldn't. And Joe Burrow ran for 43 yards on the number one defensive line, right? According to multiple people, because I'm not necessarily on that train because, like I said, Nick Bosa kind of has slacked off from what I see, especially with how much they paid him. So. From what other analysts say, that the 49ers defense, especially now with Chase Young, that defensive line is the new forefront of like the number one defensive line. But it's like, if you're not getting multiple sacks as the number one defensive line or as the number one paid player on that team, like where what are you doing? Where is this money going? And I think that a lot of it stems from the coaching decision, the play call decision, because even if our cornerbacks, right, these cornerbacks and DBs that we have, like, they're still professionals.
Yeah.
So they're still very talented at what they do. And the coach calls these plays for them. They're not out there making up the plays. But if you're seeing that zone coverage isn't working, press man. Man coverage works because you're one-on-one, you're pressed on them, or you allow a couple 6-7 yards of space, but you're able to read better because you're not focused on like, okay, where's my zone? Where's my zone coverage supposed to be? So I think that's where we're failing as a team, is that the defensive coordinator isn't able to make that decision. And Kyle Shanahan is obviously trying to run everything as best as he can, and he's running the offense good. Also, a few points on that here in a bit, but with a defensive coordinator not being able to adjust to what the Cincinnati Bengals were doing to us, it shows like there is a key missing. That key was DeMeco Ryans, because the number one defense last year was because he was running that defense the way it should have been ran, and it should be run. Because I feel like the defense, even if you remove, let's just say Bosa wouldn't have signed, that defense would still be good because you still have Fred Warner out there being able to contain that team and being able to be a captain to that team. So we're still a threat, but nothing is happening because of the defensive side not being able to adjust to what the offense is attacking you with. You know what I mean? Like for Joe Burrow, who we don't see him run 30-yard games every game. He's not like a rushing QB. For him to have almost 50 yards
He
on
had
the
57.
49er defense, yeah, is crazy to me. That's insane. He threw 3 TDs, no interceptions. So he had a baller game. And then we go on to the offensive side of the 49ers. Brock Purdy, he kind of got he was getting rushed a lot and he was getting pressed a lot. So he threw 1 touchdown, but he threw 2 interceptions. And both those interceptions, especially that one at the late game, was heartbreaking. But especially in the 5-yard line, like you're about to score a TD. Sometimes you have to make that play call where it's like, rather than throwing it, even if I'm about to be sacked, just throw it out of bounds or take the sack and readjust, because you were at first and goal or second and goal. I can't remember what it was, but instead of like him just throwing it away or taking the sack, he threw it up, and the defense was there, and they were ready for it. And he almost ran that back for a pick six, but he wasn't able to. So I don't know. It sucks to see Christian McCaffrey only 54 yards. He had 1 rushing touchdown, so his streak continues. George Kittle was starting to step up again now. I like that because we were using him more. And then obviously Debo didn't play again, but he should be back after the bye week. They go into the bye week this week, so we'll see. That's the point I wanted to get across, because I know everybody was going to ask. Now, on the other side, right? So congrats to the Bengals. They're looking like a solid team again. I don't think that they're going to be going away anytime soon. On the other side of it, you hear us talk, everybody that listens to us, you guys hear us talk about the Cowboys, all right? Whether they are doing good or doing bad, whatever. Most of the time, it's a lot of hate that we get from that. But if Chris can put a clapping sound here, because I think that the Dallas Cowboys are going to be a team that's going to make it far. I'm gonna eat my words on that one, because Dak Prescott looks solid. Yes, he was playing the Rams, but there's a lot of podcasts that say, okay, but you guys were playing weak teams or whatever. It doesn't matter. At some point, we have to take away from that and look at the actual stats. He threw 4 TDs, 1 interception, a QBR rating of 131, but over 300 yards in the air. So, and then CeeDee Lamb had 158, 2 TDs. They were balling on Sunday. And yes, it was against the Rams, a 3-5 Rams now, but the Cowboys are a 5-2 team now. They're only behind Philly, and that's because Philly is unstoppable currently in that division. So I feel like the Dallas Cowboys can make it to the playoffs, and I'm not saying that they will, but I feel that they can make it to as far as Dak Prescott can take them. Like I'm not gonna say that they're gonna.
How far?
I guess it depends who they play, but I
Just
think
say
that
it. It's at the
I don't
tip of
think
your
that they're
tongue.
gonna bounce out of the first round. Is if they come in as a wild card, I think they'll win the wild card. Or if they come in, I think they have the potential to make it to the conference championship. But
Wow.
it's who they're going to face to get there that's going to be the hard part. So I'm going to tip my cap where it's due, like Chris said right now. Like, sometimes where you got to pay respects when it's due, and it's due. They showed out, and Dak Prescott had a hell of a game, spectacular game. 1 interception, yes, but he countered that with 4 TDs. So I think that they're stepping up in the right direction, and a lot of people have also said the same thing, where it's like, well, do you think that they can still make it to the Super Bowl? I think that we're getting ahead of ourselves in that one, because there's still so much football left to play, and they still have to play Philly this year. So I think in the next week, if I'm not mistaken, they play Philly. I don't know if it's week 9 or not, or week 10. Yeah, they play next week. Yeah, they play the 7-1 Philly in Philly next week. So this one's going to show up on where they actually stand. But I think that from this performance that they just had, and they're going on a little winning streak again after the loss to the 49ers, and the 49ers haven't won since they beat them. So we ran through them, and now we can't get a win ever since George Kittle wore that shirt. That's the meme that I keep getting sent to me.
That's what shouldn't have happened.
Yeah, and then so congrats to the Cowboys. I think that's a huge victory for you guys. I think that you guys are stepping in the right direction, and I think that they have the potential to make it into the playoff and make a deep playoff push. And speaking of potential playoff teams, Chris, the Kansas City Chiefs.
Dude, I still can't believe they didn't just lose, but they they got obliterated by the Denver Broncos.
By who? Who?
By our good friend Russell.
Who is that? Because they are irrelevant as far as I
not
can.
this last game.
They literally got 70 points put on them by the Miami Dolphins, and they contained the Super Bowl defending, MVP defending Patrick Mahomes to 9 points.
It's because Taylor Swift didn't go to the game. You got to remember that.
Absolutely. I agree.
That. Patrick Mahomes threw 2 interceptions, no TDs, went 24 for 38. Still had more yards than Russell Wilson with 241. Russell only had 114, but Russell Wilson had 3 touchdowns.
Exactly.
They weren't like huge, all the way down the drive, kind of plays, but you got to give respect to respect is due again. And he in the second quarter he did it, and in the fourth quarter they scored 10. So I still can't believe Patrick Mahomes lost that game. Now, like Carlos always had said, any given Sunday, doesn't matter who you are, you can come out and, I think it's one of those things where Kansas City was just maybe comfortable. They are 6-2 now. They were 6-1 at the time. So I'm pretty sure they came in thinking, this is just the Broncos. Now the Broncos were at home, so they weren't in Arrowhead. But either way, it's kind of crazy to see that Patrick lost to the Broncos 24-9.
He has never lost to that team. He has never lost to the Denver Broncos. This was his first loss to that team. This is the first time in 16 years that the Broncos have beat the Chiefs. 16.
Wow.
Crazy, right? And to think that you're the Super Bowl defending champs. And now I said this a couple weeks ago, that the Chiefs have had way too many close games.
Yeah,
they're not scoring 50 points. They scored 37, I think, a couple weeks ago, maybe last week. But they're not scoring the 55 points that we're used to see them scoring. And we said it, even as 49er fans, like that the Chiefs, they score so much and they get scored on, but because their offense is able to score so many points.
To produce.
They're able to produce. And now it's kind of like what's happening in Kansas City, because they all their games have been either really close or really low scoring, under 20 points. And then in this one, they got held to 9 points. And the Denver offense showed out, or Russell Wilson threw 3 TDs on the Kansas City Chiefs defense. Crazy.
Not just that, bro. Another crazy thing is that there were 3 fumble losses on Kansas City. So it's not just picks. It was fumbles. There was 3 fumbles.
Hell of turnovers that game.
Yeah. I mean, and I think turnovers is a norm in Denver, but turnovers is not a normal thing in Kansas City. So that 3 fumbles, 2 interceptions, and one of those fumbles was Patrick Mahomes. It's just one of those things where any given Sunday. Oh.
That's and I've seen a lot of posts of that, like where people are like, why are people surprised? Like, it really is, because someone else had posted, and this was based off the Cowboys game, right? Where they were like, oh, they're pushing another playoff push, and I agree, they are looking like they can push a playoff push. And somebody had mentioned that it's like any given Sunday is a not a wrong saying, but any given Sunday is a good saying for some, but really for all these teams, it's any given Sunday, because you can be on a hot streak and you can lose to the worst team on that season, and it's shown it, right? Because, like, for example, the Texans were on an upswing, or not necessarily an upswing, but they were looking promising for that division at least, and then they lost to the 0-6 Panthers, and so now the Panthers are 1-6, and obviously the Chiefs losing to Denver is crazy. And then I think like another one was the Jets and Giants. Now both those teams are they're going through it, right? And a lot of Giants fans left during the game, right? They were leaving because they had like 15 punts, bro, in the first half. That's insane for both teams. Yeah, there was so many punts. Like, it was
went to overtime.
Horrible. Yeah, so we were watching that at the bar.
Why would you have that game on?
Well, because we were waiting for the other game to the Niner game to turn on, and that was one of them, right? And so we were watching it, and we are like, damn, like it's not that far off. And then the Giants kicker missed a field goal, and we're like, oh crap, like it can actually happen. They can actually come back. And then the Jets run it back and they score 3 in the 4th. Now it's 10-10, and then it goes to overtime, and then the Jets come out winning. There was people that left when there was only like 24 seconds left, Chris, when this happened, when they tied the game at 10-10 to go to overtime. So after that, everybody left the stadium. They were waiting in the outside, watching it on the jumbotron because they couldn't come back in, and then they lost. So the Giants fans that spent the money there lost because they were waiting outside because the team lost and they were already gone out of the stadium and they couldn't come back in because once you leave, you can't come back in. Especially in the 4th, you can't go in and watch overtime. That's what we always say.
Stadium, right?
Leave
they share
time.
MetLife, right?
MetLife, yeah, yeah. But I mean, that's what we say. Wait, like don't leave early, bro, because you never know. It's anything can happen in
like
sports.
if you're in the 4th quarter and there's like 5 minutes left and you're down by 40, yeah, you can leave. There's no chance.
Yeah,
yeah.
I mean, if it was the Miami Dolphins and they scored 70 on you, you could definitely.
I would have left. Yeah, but to be down because they were neck and neck till the 4th. You were only down by 3, so yeah, why would you leave?
Yeah, well, and they left because they were like, no timeouts, nothing can really happen. Bro, you can't leave, man. And obviously the Jets take that win. And so here's the other crazy thing, right? They've already seen Aaron Rodgers throwing the ball.
Yeah.
No brace, all that. Like he's just kind of a little too comfortable. People are like, dude,
he says
if his Achilles splits or God forbid, right? But like if he comes back too early and he gets hurt again, like it's career ending.
Yeah.
Yes, he's almost at the end of his career anyways, but you're talking about a major surgery at that point, not from what he just had.
So he says that the treatment that he got was like one of those treatments where it was an experiment type of thing. And thus far it's worked. You know, he's not up and running, but he's putting a little bit of weight on his Achilles. So it's not like he's not just running out there, you know, a 40-yard dash, nothing like that. He's out there with special shoes on. Don't think he's wearing his cleats out there. No, he's got some real good, more than any of us can afford type of shoes. And he's out there just throwing the ball. You could tell that there's strain, that there's a little bit of resistance in his throws because he's throwing short passes. He's not throwing downfield, nothing like that. He's just trying not to lose his touch. But at the same time, like you said, if he does decide to come back or doctors clear him and something happens, God forbid, in the field, I hate injuries, but, you know, something happens in the field, that is career ending. Because imagine in one season or season and a half, come back in the same injury or it could be even worse. And not just that, and I just want to mention this while we're on the topic of injuries, in the Vikings game.
Oh, yeah.
Kirk Cousins is out for the season as well. So it's just one of those things where a lot of people are getting injured at the moment. So I don't know
what time of year again.
Yeah. I mean, we're in week 8, so
yeah. The way I look at it is like typically halfway point of the season or close to it is where you start seeing a lot of these like not freak injuries, but just like wow, that's unfortunate and season-ending injury because you see a lot of the fatigue start coming in. Because you got to remember, these guys, these pro players, they're not just sitting back during off season. Yeah, some of them go on vacations, but most of them are training. Most of them are even like during the preseason, like they're going full pads. They're working hard, and that fatigue comes up, and then your muscles, even though you work out all the time, like you're still putting stress on them, especially in football because you're running head to head with somebody and they got their protection, you got your protection, and it's just like who's going to give in first. So a lot of this fatigue starts showing around this time of year, and it sucks for Kirk Cousins too because we were just speaking so highly on him last week, and this sucks that he's out for the season. But with the Rodgers thing, dude, I think it's way too soon. Like they're saying that like if they make it to the playoffs, he's going to be able to play. They're saying that he may come back by the end of December. Wow. And I'm just like, that's way too soon, dude. The Achilles tears are season-ending in any sport. Like, you're talking about year recovery easily. You know, and now
if you saw that play, by the way, those people that don't really watch football, this game was against the Packers. So this is a rivalry thing already. But whenever you see him take the hike, and he just like steps badly, maybe like a bad step, and he tried to run on it, and then you could just
And you
tell there
see
was
it.
no more. There was no
Yeah.
more, and
Pop.
then he hops back onto the bench, and you could just tell it's already over. No one knew it was the Achilles at the moment until they started putting the camera angles in.
Yeah.
Um, so
Like
it
you
is
can tell.
season ending, but like for people that
Oh no, no,
first
no!
time
I know, but
watchers.
what I'm saying is like how you were just mentioning, like when they started putting the camera angles
Oh
on there,
yeah,
is when you start noticing because you can tell because an Achilles is like a muscle that just pops and it just shoots up all the way because there's nothing holding it at the bottom anymore on your calf. So a lot of times when they start doing slow mos of it, you're like that's where it popped, and you can see like the stress of it. Oh, it's just horrible to talk about.
and
Um,
what's his name? Aaron Rodgers did talk to Kirk Cousins already.
oh really?
Yeah. Aaron Rodgers said it on the Pat McAfee show, and he just tried to motivate him. Nothing like like, hey man, this sucks.
Yeah, he was
like
like, "Hey,
other
take
people
this
bringing other
drug,
people
bro."
down.
He was like, "Take this drug, it'll work."
He did. He brought up the subject of, hey, that this has worked for me. Just throwing it out there, type of thing.
Yeah.
So I would hate to see Kirk Cousins out, for the rest of the season, but it is what it is, and we're just gonna, pray he gets get
Yeah,
treatment and it comes back stronger.
so people were actually talking about this too with Kirk Cousins' injury because it sucks, man. It sucks. It's unfortunate for any player to get hurt, especially season ending. But
Yeah,
it's really unfortunate for players that are on the edge of almost retiring
yeah,
because that might have
exactly.
been his last snap in the NFL. We don't know, right?
Hmm.
He says that he's unsure. Like before the season started, he didn't know how many more years he had, and obviously Minnesota may want to already move forward with someone else. Who knows, like what the front office is thinking? But now with this injury, an Achilles tear, and you're out for the season, it might have been your last snap. So you don't know. Like this could be the end of Kirk Cousins' career, and just sucks because like he has a lot of accolades, and he's been a Minnesota Viking fans love him. So very unfortunate, and like you said, we'll just be praying, making sure, hoping that he's all right and he can recover, and maybe we'll see him back on the gridiron. Maybe we won't, but for the
Yeah,
people, for the time
from
that he
what
was there, he was great.
from what O'Connell said about him, that this is his first injury in his 12 season career. First injury, like major injury.
Major
Obviously,
injury,
he's had
yeah,
his little ones, but major injury. But he's expected to, once he has surgery, to be in the QB room, not doing anything crazy, but just like motivating the guys and stuff like that. That's coming from their coach. So we'll see what happens in the sense of where the injury will take him. I don't want to see it to be a season ending,
yeah.
because he is a Viking native, and he's a good quarterback. He's not like a Patrick Mahomes, Tom Brady kind of quarterback in my eyes, but he's a
But I mean,
good
if you ask the
quarterback.
Viking fans, he's up there
Yeah,
for
of
them.
course, of course.
Which I get. I mean, I get. He's had the accolades. Like I said, he hasn't won the Super Bowl, but he's got the reputation, the completions for the Minnesota
Hmm.
Vikings organization. So yeah, it's very unfortunate. Hopefully, he comes back and plays one more season at least, and go out with like a nice retirement season rather than a freaking injury.
Yeah,
But to wrap up on the week 8 of it, and then we'll get into our MLB because a lot of our fans are big MLB fans. And it's obviously the World Series. So to wrap up our week 8, the Dolphins did beat the Patriots 31-17. Jets took the win. The Jags won. Titans in the powder blue, the Oilers uniforms.
oh,
That
did you know the
uniform is
NFL
so
is
fire.
suing U of H because U of H is having
Hmm.
the Cougars have
Hmm.
unis that are almost identical to the Oilers colors.
Wow.
So the NFL is taking it to court.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, because
That's
of the
crazy.
because of the colors. Now, I mean, you got to remember. So for those that don't know, the Titans used to be the Oilers, and then they went to Tennessee. So the colors. There's so many people here in Houston. Misa knows that still wear their Oilers jersey. It's iconic. The colors are probably one of the best uniforms out there. Unfortunately, Tennessee. They went to Tennessee, but people here, the original before Texans, those were diehard Oilers fans when they played in the Astrodome. So you got to just remember that there's a lot of diehard fans here that are just.
Yeah, I mean, so just to kind of bounce off, so the Oilers obviously they played for 2 seasons in '97 before the team changed the name to their Titans. In '99, in Tennessee, they had a great team back then too. So it's very it sucks because a lot of people in Houston are like, oh, that should be our colors, and a lot of people in Tennessee are like, that's our colors, like we're the Oilers, you know, and in which it just sucks, and I hate when they do that when they make the moves and they don't really change nothing, and then you want to carry on the tradition of what was or whatever. But yeah, those uniforms are fire though. Those uniforms are so good. I love those.
Yeah.
And then speaking on the Texans lost against the Panthers, 15-13, ugly score. Cowboys obviously rammed the Rams. If you catch my drift.
You want to know
The Saints.
something interesting about that Houston and Carolina?
Hmm.
That was first round pick 1 and 2 of the draft of this season.
Oh, nice.
Bryce Young beat C.J. Stroud. Just throwing that out there.
Well, Bryce Young.
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying, but he got the upper hand in the sense of
he has the upper hand on that one. Yeah, I agree. I
mean, he is 1 for 6, but we're not going to talk about.
I was about to say, but then the Eagles beat the Commanders 38-31. Again, another close call for the Eagles. The Commanders were making a push at the end of the game. I was watching a little bit of the highlights on that one. The Saints beat the Colts.
Mm-hmm.
Seahawks beat the Browns. Ravens beat the Cards. Your Chiefs lost to the Broncos. And then to wrap it up was the Bears and Chargers on Sunday night, with the Chargers winning. And then Monday night was the Raiders against the Lions, with the Lions continuing to push that division. They are the Kings of the North.
So I want to.
Damn, I like how that came out, bro.
Yeah, that was solid.
Voiceovers.
Hey, so I just want to bring up the standings for the NFL right now that we're going into Week 9 before we go.
Shoot.
Yeah. So right now, the American Football Conference side of it, Kansas City is leading it with 6 wins and 2 losses. They are actually tied with Miami, the Jaguars, and the Ravens. So that's a big
crazy.
Yeah, they all have the same record, but Kansas City's up top. And the National Football side, you got Philly. There's no one tied to Philly. They're 7-1.
Of course not.
The Lions are right behind them with the 6-2, and then there's 5-2 being the Seahawks, which is to me surprising. Cowboys 5-2 as well, and then the 49ers due to 3 losses straight in a row, 5-3, and after that, who cares?
But this is the way I look at it for 49ers. We can't lose this week.
No, we can't. Yeah, well, we lost to the NFL.
Yeah, so we can't lose this week.
But that's what it's looking like right now. Obviously, is a week by week kind of change that could happen. Hell, the Eagles could lose 6 in a row. So
Yeah, I mean, any given Sunday and every given Sunday. So yeah, let's do our picks for this week. I have Domo's picks here. Domo has the Dolphins winning this coming week, beating the Chiefs, and then he's got the Saints
beating the Chiefs.
Yeah, and then he's got the Saints beating the Bears, which makes sense. And then he's got the Jets over the Chargers on Monday night of next week. So those are Domo's picks for this week. I have my picks as well, and then Chris, you can close it out and take us into our baseball segment. Okay. I got the Browns over the Cardinals. I'm going to play it safe because it's coming down to the wire on who's going to win this. And then the Vikings, I know Kirk Cousins is out, but I got the Vikings winning this game coming up. Where they're playing? They're playing the Falcons. They're playing in Atlanta, but I think the Vikings have the momentum. And then I got the Cincinnati Bengals, especially coming up after showing out against the 49ers. They're going to Cincinnati. They're 4-3, playing against the 5-3 Buffalo Bills on Sunday night. So I got the Bengals over the Bills on that. Chris, go with yours, B.
All right, my picks for Week 9, starting off with the Titans and the Steelers. I'm actually going with the Titans on this game. No particular reason. I just think the Titans are going to win. Seahawks and Ravens. I'm going to go Ravens. Ravens are playing at home. And I think the Ravens will take that. I know that the Seattle is hot right now with their wins, but honestly, I think the Ravens will win that. And then my last one is a really good Sunday night game, Bengals and Bills. It is in Cincy, but I am going with Cincy.
What the?
Yeah.
You took me on a roller coaster with your pick.
Going Cincy and Cincy and Cincy. But yeah, I'm going with the Bengals just because Joe Burrow is hot right now in both ways, if you know what I'm saying. And he's a great quarterback. I know he's had at the beginning of the season was rough, especially after the preseason injury. But I just don't see Buffalo coming in and beating him in this game. especially of how good he is to get out of the pocket. He showed it against the 49ers this last game. And I don't think the Buffalo's got a good enough defense to take
To
him
hold
down
them
as
down.
well.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
that's just mine. So I got Bengals winning that game. So that's my
Cool.
top 3. And we're heading off to baseball. So we'll see you guys in a jiffy. All right, I'm starting
baseball. No, World Series.
No?
FYI. Game 4 right now is 10-0 in the bottom of the
wanted
third.
to say it.
All right, go. I can edit it out.
All right, so clearly, no. Right now, the Texas Rangers are killing it. They're 10-0 right now against the Diamondbacks, and this is the crazy thing, though, is that our boy Adolis Garcia is not on the lineup. For those that don't know, he got injured yesterday, with an oblique injury, so he is out for the remainder of the World Series, which is a hard pill to swallow if you are a Texas Rangers fan. Because I think that was going to be your MVP. I know we're going to get into the games right now in the World Series, but man, he's been so good in these playoff games. So it kind of sucks to see him disappear from the lineup, but it's awesome to see that the team is still strong. Clearly, they're 10-0 right now. In the second inning and in the third inning, they both scored 5. So they're killing it right now. And everybody's hitting. Everybody.
So last week, right, our episode last week, since we record a couple of days before we post our episode because we got to go through all the editing stuff. Last week we were in the championship series with the American League and then the National League. So we had predictions on Rangers Phillies. Obviously, that prediction fell through. Don't, like we always say, don't bet on our bets because this shit never works.
Hey, we got one right.
Texas. But that's because they were already closed out.
I'm just saying, we got it right, though.
Yeah, we did get it right. But we did say Texas versus Philly was going to be the series to watch. I'm not saying that the Diamondbacks can't come back in the series because it's still possible, right? Even if they lose tonight, they can still push it and come back from 3-1 deficit. It's going to be extremely hard. There is a stat out there that's like 69% or something like that, 79% of the teams that win Game 3 usually win the World Series. So if the score is up 2-1, and it was right. So now with the Rangers and Diamondbacks, they both have been playing great baseball. On Saturday, the Diamondbacks in Globe Life ran through the Rangers, and it was 9-1. Friday was a hell of a game. Game 1 was a hell of a game with them going into extra innings. The Rangers came out on top after 11th by Adolis Garcia.
Walk-off,
style.
baby.
Yeah, walk-off, which is walk-off baseball is so good. If for those that don't know what walk-off is, just on YouTube, since you're watching us on YouTube, just type in walk-off home runs, and you'll see and feel the excitement that a true baseball fan loves to go through.
You know what's better than that, though, than just watching a video, which still gets me, but it is
hitting one in MLB The Show.
No.
Oh.
Thanks. No, if you watch the entire game, and it's been a hectic game, back and forth, or tied the whole time, whatever, and then you're in the bottom of the ninth, or you're in extra innings, and you get a walk-off home run, bro. That is the best feeling. Best feeling.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, so baseball itself, right, and it's, I hate saying it because it's coming to an end. Like, we're about to be out of the World Series, and then we got to wait until freaking April till all that stuff happens. It's such a good sport because it's 1v1, right? You obviously have your defense out there waiting for you. But when it comes to the hitter, it is the hitter against the pitcher at that point. He's not worried about what's happening on the field. He's just trying to put the ball in play and then hope that something works out for him. And both teams have shown that they can score runs. With the Diamondbacks scoring 9 on Saturday away is crazy. And then obviously right now the Rangers is running through and scoring 10 in 3 innings is nuts. We had said right before that the MVP most likely would be Adolis Garcia, and it was showing it. And Chris, I think you have the stats if you want to bring them up. And it was showing it obviously before his injury, and now he's out for the World Series. Very unfortunate because I thought that he definitely was going to be the World Series MVP. But, I mean, it just gives opportunity for somebody else to step up and do it. Corey Seager stepping up and doing it. Is what I see from this
So
series is that it's one or the other, and Adolis was one leading the pack.
So Adolis Garcia was batting 323, his average. He had a total of 8 home runs. I'm talking about postseason, not just World Series.
Yeah.
Postseason with 22 RBIs, 18 stolen bases. Oh, I'm sorry, 2 stolen bases. I read the wrong stat there. Sorry about that.
18. I was like, what is he stealing, bro?
He had
Those are
18
free
strikeouts.
tacos. Oh,
yeah, right. He had 18 strikeouts.
Completely
had
opposite
20
stat.
Yeah, it's because it said S, and then like in little letters it said S again, and I was like, I had to hover over it. He had a total of 20 hits, so yeah, he was killing it. He was actually leading the Texas Rangers in the postseason with hits. Now Corey Seager, which I got to give props to my boy Corey, was right behind him with 17 hits, 5 doubles, 5 home runs, 10 RBIs. He wasn't really on there with RBIs. And the total, it's just the whole Texas Rangers team is hot, dude. And you clearly see it this game because it's 10-0 right now. They lose their star player in my eyes for the postseason at least. Lose him, and these, their family, they're backing their boy up pretty much, saying we can still win it. And there's a lot of people doubting. I was reading a lot of posts today, especially after if you guys didn't know, follow us on Instagram because we were number probably 45 to repost the ESPN stat.
We were number
Max
1.
Scherzer was out for the World Series. Oh, we're number 1.
They sent that to me privately.
Oh, okay. I was not aware of that information. But Adolis Garcia is out for the remainder of the World Series, like we said. Max Scherzer is also out for the World Series. So it's just Max Scherzer is an ace. He is up there in age, but he is still someone to fear. Evan Carter, their center fielder, is batting over 300, batting 333. So everybody's coming out. Marcus Semien is struggling a little bit. He's batting under 200, but he has a total of 13 hits, 3 RBIs. That's someone I wish would get hot because his energy, you could feel it whenever he's rounding the bases. So right now they are winning 10-0, but baseball's a whole different subject. The Arizona Diamondbacks come back in the 9th.
Yeah, I mean,
there's no time.
You really can because there's no time limit, right? Obviously, the pitch clock and all that, but there's no time limit in this game, in this beautiful game that we all love, America's pastime. And it's really, like I said, it's 1v1, and anything can happen, and you can load the bases, and then you can be right back in the game. Who knows what can happen? The Rangers pitching may fall apart. The Rangers defense may fall apart. Like Chris was saying, a very big hit to the Rangers losing Adolis Garcia for the remainder of the World Series. But for all we know, the remainder of the World Series is just today and then the next game. And then the Texas Rangers are your World Series champs. Now, speaking on World Series, Chris, or playoffs, right? Since it's Halloween and it's spooky season, name one thing, bro, that brings fear to your eyes when it comes to baseball. A specific play or a baseball game that you're just like, man, or something heartbreaking that happened in October. You as a Dodger fan, I already have mine as a Dodger fan, but something that you're reminded of, like, it scares me to think about that, about the trials and tribulations.
Is it just one game, or like, can I choose a series?
Whatever, you can choose a series. Whatever you're just like, that was spooky.
Can
I tell you mine?
Yeah.
What do you think on yours?
Well, I was gonna choose Game 5, 2017 against the Astros.
But see, that was a good game.
No. And it's, to me, it's probably
saying.
one of the greatest games I've seen, especially in World Series history. But yeah, it's got to be up there. Or I was gonna say same thing in 2018 against the Red Sox. That was sad.
So mine is also Dodger related, but it's the 111 win season
last season. Okay.
And then losing in the first round to a divisional rival is spooky.
You know what? That word gets tossed out a lot, and I get it. The divisional rival being the Padres. But TBH, bro, like, I don't think they're the rivals that much because they're never up there with us.
Well,
besides
yeah,
that season.
that season, but
Yeah.
but I guess the rival comes from the hatred from the teams and the fans.
Yeah.
because there's so much beef there, especially with Manny Machado and like all the stuff that they were talking with Tatis talking and all that. So it's not a rival, but like because it's so much hatred in the game itself, like the Giants and Dodgers or the Red Sox and the Yankees. But it's a rival because it's divisional and they're like attempting to be the next best thing, and then never happens. But last year, losing in the first round, getting bounced by the Padres after we talked all that mess, and they just ran through us like it was nothing, is heartbreaking to me. Like it gives me the spooky chills, if you catch me.
No, yeah, that to me, I'm still going Game 5. Understandably, being one of the most entertaining World Series games I have lived through, but the outcome was just not it. And then the stuff that came afterwards. I was also going to say the extra inning game in 2018 against the Red Sox.
18 innings? That was a good game.
Yeah, that game lasted probably like, 1, 2 in the morning?
It was like 2 close to 3 over here.
Yeah, so, for us. We're in Central Time. So, yeah, I think that's probably number 2 on my list. If we're talking World Series, the 111 was bad, though. That was heartbreaking. I can't knock it. Hell, even this season was sad, too, because we just got obliterated.
Yeah. I mean,
literally swept.
So I had been asked this question of like spooky season, like what do you think is like traumatizing as a Dodger fan? It's every October. It's spooky season.
It's the full month.
Yeah, except for 2020, right? But it's the whole month. But there's so many that I can name, right? Like us giving up a run, Dave Roberts not pulling somebody too soon or whatever. Like people were talking about like for when Blake Snell got pulled in the 6th inning against the Dodgers,
and then
when that's like a heartbreaking experience for them. Obviously the Mets have a big issues, and then the Red Sox have so many years of being traumatized.
Do you think?
So I wanted to bring it up.
Do you think for
a
Yankees fan, it's being up 3-1 and then losing the series?
Absolutely.
Or 3-0? Was it 3-1 or 3-0?
Absolutely, dude. It's
That's
when Big Papi came back on them, and they won that. And then obviously that was their first World Series win after that, shortly after. But yeah, I mean, there's so many things that you can talk about, especially with Dodgers and stuff, that you're like, damn.
Oh, you know what's another
seasons.
one? Anytime he's not on the team anymore, but anytime Kenley Jensen came up to save the game, and we're only up by 1
to save the game. Dude,
yeah,
to
that's
save
gotta
the
be
game.
one of the. Now, quick question. Still baseball related. Doesn't have to be the Dodgers. Mine is, but doesn't have to be the Dodgers. Greatest moment that you lived, not something in history, that you lived in your 150 years of being alive. Moment in Dodger history or baseball history.
In baseball history that I've witnessed.
Like, woo! Yeah, what do you think?
That I've witnessed? Probably. And this is probably just a very cookie cutter like answer, but after 9/11, Sammy Sosa running out on the field with the flag, I remember watching that game.
I was not expecting that.
Yeah, that, and then probably Jeter's career, just all of it, but like really his ending, like his last game.
That was
Mariano Rivera's last game too, like when he came out and Andy Pettitte pulled him and Derek Jeter was on the mound, like all of them together. So probably something in relation to that. But if I'm talking about like a specific game or play or like walk off, damn, that Corey Taylor one though. Chris Taylor.
In 2021, walk off home run.
Yeah, that one's up there. Seegers too. Damn, I don't know. There's so many.
I'm gonna go. I'm a Belly fan. I'm going 2020 Bellinger. Right where Kike Hernandez and him jump in the air and he gets his injury.
Oh, spooky season? Is that what you're talking about? Like
the homer you're being coming back because we were down in that series against the Braves.
Yeah. I gotcha.
Yeah, being down in that series, that homer pushed us to win that game. But then that was also the end of an era with Bellinger being over 300. So that's a two thing for me.
So Belly right now is about to be a free agent.
Yeah.
So he can sign at multiple places. A lot of people are expecting. Well, honestly, even the Astros are in talks with it. Not saying that they've reached out, just saying that he's also a potential landing spot there. But the Astros have a lot to go with right now, especially with Dusty Baker being gone, or for what we know now. But they're saying Cody may end up back in LA. That would be great. But he may end up in San Francisco. There's also Arizona. There's a lot of potential landing spots. The Yankees. So a lot of free agency stuff's going to happen right after the World Series within the month or two. So it's going to be an exciting time frame from that. Now, Chris, on this World Series here in 2011 was the last time we saw the Texas Rangers, right? And they did not win. They lost that World Series. Do you think that they close this out?
Do they close it out tomorrow?
By the time we post this, and the World Series will be over next week before the time we record again. So are the Rangers the World Series champs, or are the Arizona Diamondbacks going to push back?
I'm going to go Texas. And I think they'll close it out tomorrow. Tomorrow would be that would be closing it out. They're just too powerful right now. Not knocking on Arizona. I know they're winning. They're losing 10-0 right now in the bottom of the fourth. But Texas is coming out strong. They got a reason to win. So do the Arizona Diamondbacks. And Arizona hasn't won since 2000. And you know what was a moment that got me emotional because I saw the videos on it? So, former President George W. Bush came out to throw the first pitch.
Yep,
and
it's a pudge.
Yeah. And they showed a video of when he threw it at Yankee Stadium. And it got me emotional how old we all are because I was little whenever that happened, so I don't remember that like a lot, but I've seen the video like 100,000 times. But to see him now, it's like wow. And he threw it. He did not throw a good pitch like he did in New York, but but it was still like it makes you think like, man, time flies.
Yeah, I mean that's what it is, right? Like if you think about, like, to me, 2001 doesn't seem that long ago, right? When the Diamondbacks won, but it is a long time ago.
It is a long time.
You were 3,
exactly,
like at that time. You know, like that's a long time ago. Like, and even when I think about 2011 when the Rangers were in, I'm like, that's not that long ago, but it is. That's a long time if you think about it. Like, so it's crazy to see how time really does just kind of fly. Especially when you're having fun, and it's usually what happens. So you're saying that the Rangers win it, they don't make it to Game 7? You don't think Arizona pushes it to 7?
I would like to see it because I love Game 7s, but right now the Diamondbacks just scored 1. But yeah, I think Texas takes it tomorrow.
Okay, so you think they close the series out like soon?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I can see that. Game 7, if needed, would be Saturday, so that would be cool to watch. If it does go that far, obviously tonight is 10-1. Currently in the 4th inning right now, and then we have tomorrow, Wednesday, would be Game 5. And if Texas wins tonight, they're gonna look out to shut it out, or they may travel back to Texas on Friday and shut it out at home. But I'm going to go with the same thing you said. I think Texas wins, and Texas will be the World Series champs. And MVP pick, Corey Seager.
Yeah, I'll back that with you.
Yeah. I was going to say Adolis, obviously, but he's out. So
I don't think
I'm going to give Corey.
Could you do that, though? Put him as MVP even though he didn't play the last 2 games? If they close
technically, if his stats were so great that but Corey Seager has hit his 4th home run in the last 5 games and his 3rd of this World Series. So
wow,
his stats are just as good right now. So he's definitely gonna. I think that he's the runner up for that, and World Series MVP. So I think Corey Seager's the World Series MVP. I think the Rangers close it out,
second.
But I think World Series MVP?
What are these balloons on my screen?
What the All right, y'all. It happened again with these random emojis.
I don't know.
It's got to be something with the software we use. Has to be. You say a certain word and like.
But I went like this, and it popped up. But I don't know. But
we just look like fools. But for our audience that listens to us only, That's why it was blank audio right now because we were just doing hand gestures.
This would be Corey Seager's second MVP because he got it in 2020 with the Dodgers. So that would be epic.
Yeah,
That'd be epic.
I mean, I would love to see Corey Seager take that. I think he does win that World Series MVP, but I say that Arizona pushes it back and the Texas Rangers close it out at home on Friday.
Be epic.
I think they close it out on Friday at home.
Saturday does not intrigue you?
Would that make sense? Yeah, I mean, because they just need one. Yeah, Saturday does intrigue me, but I don't think that the Diamondbacks can win 3 in a row. That'll be tough.
It's
to
possible.
win 3 in a row. It's possible, yeah, but I mean, everybody. I mean, by everybody, I mean you and I. We were worried about like what the Rangers, how they were going to adjust to not having Adolis Garcia out in the outfield, and it looks like they've adjusted perfectly fine. So I think that they're definitely a powerhouse team. It wouldn't surprise me if they close it out tomorrow and then they're the World Series champs. But I would like to see it come back to Texas and have them win it here. If they do win, I'm going to the parade for sure. For sure. I'm going to go check out the Rangers parade whenever it happens.
That'd be pretty cool to see too, huh?
Yeah. Yeah. So I would enjoy that. But yeah, that's our baseball segment. Before we log out tonight, and we go into our top 3. Our top 3 today, because it is Halloween themed, is going to be top 3 candies. Doesn't obviously not Halloween candies because it doesn't necessarily have to be Halloween, just candies in general. But we did want to mention, obviously, Leo Messi has won his 8th Ballon d'Or. So congrats to that. GOAT status just keeps growing for him. I think that it's a lot of people are saying the same thing, that he is the greatest athlete of all time that we've seen in our lifetime. So doesn't surprise me.
Did you see the picture that like the Bill Russell kind of picture?
So epic, bro. So epic.
8 rings on that.
And if you guys want to see that picture, follow us on Instagram because we did post it as well. But yeah, those are our social medias. Reviewing the Call, TikTok, Reviewing the Call as well. Shoot us an email if you do that as a person. Shoot us one, or slide into our DMs. We don't mind. And then also follow us on YouTube. We're trying to grow that platform now because our videos do drop on Friday. And we are trying to grow our social media. So if you think any of our content is funny or you want to make fun of Chris for drinking his milk warm, do it in our comment section and send it to a friend so they can make fun of him too.
That was uncalled for.
It's just a good time. Let's get into our top 3. So next week we'll be back with our World Series victory and see who actually won that. And we'll be back with more sports next week. Let's get into our top 3. Chris, do you have yours?
Yeah, I got it. So my number 1 in top 3 candies. This includes chocolates, right? I'm assuming. Yes. Okay. So if that's the case, then yes, I do have my list. My number 3, going 3 to 1, is going to be Kit Kats. I don't know that this top 3s. It's whatever. My number 2 is going to be Starburst, but specifically the pink ones, the strawberries and watermelon ones. You know they sell them as a pack now. Yeah, you can buy them themselves.
By themselves.
Yeah. So that'd be my number 2. And my number 1 is a toss-up, but I'm gonna go with Sour Patch Kids. The watermelon flavor.
Nice.
They're like little watermelons. Or Jolly Ranchers. Yeah. One of the 2.
I used to like Jolly Ranchers a lot. But yeah, watermelon flavor Sour Patch Kids are so good.
Yeah.
My number 3 is going to be, first of all, Kit Kat. That was a surprising answer. I didn't expect you to say Kit Kat.
I love Kit Kats.
Yeah. So my number 3 is actually going to go gummy worms, sour or non-sour. I don't care. I'm going to eat a gummy worm. As long as I can, I will eat
like the original gummy worms or just anything that's in the shape of a worm?
Damn, you stumped me. Couldn't I? Some
brands are kind of bad.
Some fake brands taste like a rock. And I've never chewed rocks, but I assume that's what they taste like. But yeah, gummy worms, I guess the original brand of gummy worms, sour or non-sour, doesn't matter. Okay. And number 2 is actually going to be a basic ass answer because a lot of people probably don't like it. Is Twizzlers. I love Twizzlers, bro. I need hope. I love them.
Twizzlers are
bro. When I was a little kid, I used to bite the tip and then
I bet you did
make it a straw. Why am I holding it like this? But I would make it a straw into my Gatorades, and then just drink it like that, and then chew
Wait, you
the
drink
Twizzler afterwards.
Gatorades with a straw?
No, it was just because at lunch.
Nah,
in
that's
school,
weird. That's weird. Not as weird as me, but that's weird.
I guess we're just weird. And then my number one is going to be Reese's Pieces, and it's or not Reese's Pieces, just Reese's peanut butter cups in general.
Oh,
And by the way, it is
I forgot about that one.
yeah, and it is said Reese's for those people from up north that like to say Reese's. That's not the way you say it. It's Reese's.
Who has said that?
Everybody up north calls it Reese's Pieces, and it's Reese's, but they don't understand. And you know what I'm talking about. And I'm gonna
you
clip
know who
this.
you are.
You know who you are. I'm gonna clip this. It's Reese's peanut butter cup, not Reese's peanut butter cup or Reese's Pieces. Reese's anything is great. So those are my favorite.
You know what's an
Unfavorite,
honorable mention
worst
for me?
candy of all time, Chris? Candy
What?
corn. That is booty.
Oh, yeah, we are on the same
Booty.
boat, dude. Whoever buys that, you need to go to prison because that is disgusting.
They want to see the world burn.
Yeah, that's the type of people that warm up their milk with cereal. You weirdos. No,
Those
I
are
hate
the-
those carrot things. What are they called? Like just carrots?
Candy corn?
No. Oh, okay,
Candy
yeah.
corn.
They're
Candy
so
corn.
nasty. They're so
Yeah, they're
gross.
horrible. Horrible candy for
No,
me.
honorable mention is
mention.
actually not a candy from the U.S. It's a candy. I don't know if it's made in Salvador, but I always get it whenever family comes. They're called Dianas or Dianas, and they're like these little red cherries, dude. Best candy ever. Like they're
Nah.
unique. They're unique.
I've never
tried
had
it. Okay,
No, I
but
don't
you
think I've
can't
ever
get
had
the
it.
ones you get here. If you get the ones from Fiesta or La Michoacana or something like that, it's not the same. You got to get the ones from the motherland.
Yeah, I've never had it, but I guess I will try it. But I guess my honorable mention would be the Mexican sandia with the chili.
Oh, yeah, or the elote ones. Those are good too.
Or the elote ones. Yeah, those are good. Yeah, for the Latino
Damn.
people out there, you know what I'm talking about. White people too.
What about
anybody.
Lucas? Or
Lucas?
the thing you push down and like the little there's like hair.
With the squirrely comes out or
Yeah,
whatever.
those are so
Yeah.
good.
Those are good too. Yeah, there's a lot of honorable mentions for candy. But that's our top 3 for this week, and that is also our episode. So thanks for joining us on this beautiful Tuesday cold night in Dallas, Texas, and Houston, Texas. Happy Halloween. Get ready. Maybe start working out because Thanksgiving is around the corner, and I know you guys are going to eat a lot. So that's our episode for tonight. Thanks for joining us. MLB World Series would be wrapped up by the time by next week's episode. So hopefully our predictions were right. Like I said, if you listen to this, don't place your bets on us because it doesn't work. And follow, subscribe, comment, message, shoot us a Gmail if you want to collab. If you know anybody that wants to talk sports, just let us know. We're happy to be here. Rest in peace to Matt Perry. Sucks that we lost a friend. So condolences to his family and obviously the whole world that is affected by it. Other than that, man, be safe out there. Be nice to each other. We love you guys.